Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. We are on the air. This is Thesis.
3, 2, 1, we are on the air. This is Thesis. Everything is everything. I am your host, J.Marie. How's it going out there, folks? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for showing up and hanging out with us today. Coming to you live from Zombie Land. Yes, sir. Well, thank you again for showing up and checking in on us today. I hope you find yourself healthy and safe. It's been a minute, but I am here. I am alive. I am well. We've been busy wrapping up the year, a busy year, but it's okay. We stay busy on all kinds of fronts over here, and but I am here, and I miss you guys, and I've been anxious to get on here, so I'm here today, and I appreciate you being with us today, wherever you find yourself. All right. So lately I've been digging into we're so familiar here in the West with Christianity and Judaism, because that's kind of our background, I guess, our forefathers and the people who made this nation, and where we come from. A lot of us come from Europe. Our background, European background, is that all we know is Christianity and Judaism as far as religion, and I've always been interested, well, for many years now, uh, been interested in some of the Far East religions, Buddhism, right? We talk about Buddhism here a lot. But lately, I've been I've been digging into Hinduism a little bit. It's very ancient, one of the things that kind of attracted me to looking into a little bit more of it is definitely the history in India. Like when you look at their ruins, they got a lot of ruins that are like temples. They're thousands of years old, beautiful temples. Um, and so that those temples and those ruins attracted me. Like, wow, what is this? Because it seems like some ancient civilization. Because as far as some of the historians go, modern understandings, some of these tales of the Hindu tales go back thousands and thousands of years, maybe 3,000 years, and some people say probably even more so when you start looking at the artifacts and the ruins and all of that stuff, right? But I wanted to know a little bit more about the religious side of it. They do have a lot of gods, sort of the way the Greeks and the Romans had different gods that represented different powers of the earth or the universe, gravity or the ocean or, those type of things. But overall, they don't have the same type of understanding of God and heaven and those type of things the way we do. We think, our understanding about God, an all powerful, all seeing being, and then heaven and hell. When we die, we're gonna go to heaven. If we're good, and if we're bad, we're gonna go to hell, where our soul will burn. You know, the in Hinduism, they don't have those concepts. Quite like the way we do in the West. You know, very interesting because they're very different. They are very different religions. So as you know, I like to dig into different religions and sources, right? So I've learned a lot about Buddhism, and I understand a lot about Buddhism now compared to many years ago. Let's say when I had no clue about Buddhism, and lately digging into Hinduism, I'm starting to see and grasp some of these ideas. Like for instance, okay, so there's several things. So like for instance, they don't have God, right? There's not a God the way we understand. Depending on us and our imagination and how we've been taught, we might think of God as a one all powerful source, a being, that sits somewhere in heaven and something like that, right? An almighty, all powerful authority of the universe or something like that. In Hinduism, they don't have that. What they have is what they call Brahman. it's like a soul, a soul of the universe. And everything within that, everything within the universe is part of that soul, of that essence, that being, that existence of the universe. It's called Brahman, right? So, so that's the thing that brings order in the world, that brings order to the universe. Brahman, you know, it governs sort of over the universe. It brings the order out of the universe. Everything encompasses. It encompasses all parts and all aspects of it. It created it. It lives within it. You know what I'm saying? So when we think of the idea of Brahman and we explain it, kind of what it means, dang, that kind of sounds similar to what the West tries to use in language to explain what God is, right? Because God, right, this thing that we call God, rules over the universe, right? Governs over all creation, created the universe, exists everywhere within it, inside all parts, right? Wow, it's sort of similar, except the only difference is is in Brahman, you're part of that soul. Whereas in the West, God and everything in it, we're separated from it, right? We've been separated from God, the fall of man, whatever. There's this separation there, and we're trying to get back to that, in connection with God, right? In the West. Now, Brahma is like, it's like a way of life. Love for nature, love for each other, respect and balance, and all these things that are good for each other, for society, for existence, for being. It's a way of life, a way of doing things. You don't have to, like, for instance, you don't have to believe in an almighty, all-powerful God, in the sense that we do in the West. In the West, we're divided. You either believe in a God or you don't. Oh, so the people who don't believe think believers are crazy, and people who believe think non-believers are crazy. when we look at it, it's like we're crazy. The West is crazy. We have a way that's a little bit different, but see, mind you, it's not. It's our lack of understanding. Because what I see about the West, what I see about the Western religion, Judaism and Christianity, I see Athenian thought. I see philosophy. And I see a mixture of religion and philosophy together because there's a standard that judges over all man, right? That's philosophical. If there's a standard, right, a higher standard above everything, that even kings are subject to, nations are subject to, planets are subject to, right? This thing that we call God governs over everything. So planets are subject to this thing we call God. Now, the modern church doesn't like us to say this, like, it doesn't want us to say God is like a force. It doesn't even want us to compare him or it to a force. If you were to say this force, no. God is real. God is alive. Okay, fine. We'll use these words. I like using these words so we can have a good understanding of what, this force that governs, that created, that whatever. The West has decided to call this thing God, right? But other religions, other nationalities have a totally different understanding of existence than the way we do. That we're like so separated from God, and we're trying to find our way back, and because we're sinful and all this, right? So we're never worthy even to like if a modern person, if a modern pastor, priest, or whatever, anybody, me, whoever says, I am God or the Son of God, they'll be like, whoa, hey, get this guy out of here. Because we've created this standard, like there's only one Son of God, right? Jesus. There's only one Son of God, Jesus. When the rest of the world doesn't see it that way, So in Hinduism, right, we're all part of this Brahman, that we can fall off and do bad things and everything, but we are still part of it. We exist within it. It exists within us, Brahman. And we can fall away, but we can also get in tune with it. And when we are in tune with it, it's like so there's kind of tiny little similarities within Hinduism and Buddhism, because Buddhism, there's cycles of life and dying and rebirth, and then in Hinduism too, there's this one stage that you can get to where it's like you don't have to die anymore. You've gotten there. It's like that's it. We don't have to go through this cycle anymore, right? In Buddhism also, there's like cycles. They don't have a concept of God either. The closest thing to anything that we have in the West that the Buddhists have is nirvana, which is sort of like heaven, but on earth. Like heaven here and now. Peace, joy, where there's no attachment, there's no pain, and there's no suffering because we've let go of those things that hurt us, that attach us, money, whatever these attachments may be, because we're all different. It's them. So they don't have this concept of God or heaven. It's more like heaven on earth, heaven here and now. Nirvana is. It's a stage of being that you can find yourself in, that you can get to, you know? So it's more like heaven on earth now, one with the universe, one with nature, one with everything. To where they've where to you get to a point to where you've surrendered all of these things that we've forgiven those who've hurt us, or those things that held us back, those things that we've been attached to. Oh, my divorce, or the fight I had, whatever. We've forgiven, which in turn releases us from that attachment. But true forgiveness that comes from the heart, you know you're not attached to that anymore, right? Somebody hurt you, your wife left you, whatever. There's that attachment. Oh, you're still attached. It still hurts. 5 years, 10 years later, it still hurts. Why? Because you're still snagged upon it. You might say, I've forgiven her or him or whatever, but in actuality, you haven't let go in your heart. You haven't let go because there's still a snag there. But when you let go, when you're able to unsnag yourself from these things that hold us, it's like you're flowing down the river. There's these things that just snag you along the way. But once you're able to release that, the flow will carry you. You will go with the flow. And there will be less and less things interfering with your life. These snags, these things that catch us, that snag us, that pull our attention away, that anger us, And when we release those, we can reach a state of nirvana, which is like heaven, but not after you're dead, while you're alive, right? So now let's look at that concept there. Because in the West, the way Christianity teaches us is like, right? So the Christ says, forgive those, who trespass against you, or forgive those who's hurt you. Forgive. What's the reason that we forgive? So when we look at the big picture, we can see, okay, when we forgive, we want to let go, but we have to forgive in order for that snag to let go. So we won't be held by it anymore, but it has to be authentic. It has to come from the heart, forgiveness. I mean, even the sciences show that, the psychological sciences show that, we suffer a lot of emotional damage, a lot of psychological damage when we hold on to these things because we got hurt by someone. They cause damage to us. But when we can, because when we're looking at it, let's say in the Buddhist sense, we're snagged by what that person did to us, right? Or we're snagged by what happened to us, right? We're stuck there. but it needs to be released. So when we release it, now we can heal, right? So in Christianity, when we forgive, that's the process, right? That's the first step in the process of healing, is forgiving and letting go. So there's those two similarities there. Unsnag yourself. Forgive. Forgive. Forgive everybody. Forgive yourself. We hold a lot of stuff against ourselves sometimes that, I messed up so bad, and that can take us down. And it'll hold us there for years and years because of those snags, and it's internal. We can't forgive ourselves. I understand that part of it's so hard to forgive oneself. It's a process though. When we start forgiving, then that process of healing starts. Right. So the Buddhists don't have heaven after death. The way they see it is, when you die, your spirit will continue because your spirit is eternal, and it might eventually be brought back into another body, right? Reincarnation is what we call it. But it's just like, because the spirit is eternal, as they understand it. Now, the same with Hinduism, the Brahman, the spirit you're eternal, just like the Brahma spirit, because you're part of it. You are so this vessel that we're in, this body is temporary, right? We're gonna die away, but the spirit is eternal. The Hindus believe in an eternal spirit. The Buddhists believe in the eternal spirit, and Christ speaks of an eternal spirit. Right? Now, what happens to that spirit afterwards is different in Christianity, or at least how they've taught us in Christianity. It's a little bit different than what they say, let's say, in Hinduism or Buddhism. It's that because in Christianity, if I live a bad life, when I die, I'm going to hell. After I die, And if I'm good, when I die, I'm going to heaven, that eternal place. So there's something there. Okay, I think we have a big misunderstanding somehow that got lost in the translation or something. Because when we start looking at these comparisons, a lot of that stuff is sounding similar. A lot of that stuff is sounding similar. So the Christ says, forgive. Why? So you can, right? So we can heal, because that's part of it. Now, as far as the afterlife, now here's where we're. So here's the thing: is when we're talking about Christianity here, or the church or religion or whatever, right? We're examining what we know, or looking at what we don't know, and trying to dig and trying to find some answers, right? Not to say, oh, look, this is conflict. Not to simply point it out, because there's people out there who might want to just, oh, look, the conflict within the scriptures, all of this. We're not here to do that. That's that. So the soul is eternal, right? Christ says, you're going to go to heaven. You're forgiven, right? So as far as hell, if we're forgiven, we're just going over this metaphorically. Our soul is eternal, right? So when we die, we're going to go to that eternal place. We call it heaven. We have this imagery of angels and all this. Never mind all of that. The eternal place, right? Our soul, our spirit, is going to go to that eternal place. Now, the Buddhists understand and believe that our soul is eternal, right? So when we die, this is just a shell, and our soul returns back to that eternal place. It's eternal. It returns back to the eternal place. It might eventually get put back into a body. Same with the Hinduism. You are part of this universe. You are a like a hair. Oh, I don't have any hair. But like a hair is a part of your body. It's coming from you. We are of the universe. We are part of the universe. We're not separated in any way. We are made with the same elements that the universe is made out of. Now, let's just imagine this. They split an atom, a hydrogen atom, kaboom. We are made of carbon. We are made of hydrogen. We are made of all these elements. That same power that exists within that hydrogen atom that gets split and kaboom exists within us, within our being, within our existence right here and right now. Because this body is part of the universe. It's made of the universe. Right? So that way of thinking is not familiar to us here in the West. We don't we haven't been taught to think that way. We haven't been taught to think of ourselves in that nature. Now when you dig in to, like, the way I look, the way we love to do here in Thesis, digging into scripture, digging into the church and what the scriptures tells us and what the church tells us and what these different religious, right? When you dig in and you start to see these pictures, they start to form a little, like, man, because there seems to be confusion. There seems to be confusion, you know, right? Because look, in Christianity and in the West, it says God, right? So in the scriptures, right? Let's say what the scriptures say. God is everywhere, right? Right? Brahma is everywhere, right? Okay. God exists within you, in your heart, right? The heart is the throne of God. He exists within you and everything around you. Oh, Brahma is same. You, right? So God exists within me, right? And then we look at the example, let's say, of Jesus. He's a human, right? And we call him the Son of God. He's man. He's a man. He's a man, yet he says he's born of God. What does that mean? If we go to India, if we go to those places in the world, they already know that, hey, I am the Son of God too. That's not a strange thing to them. That is not a strange idea to those folks, because that's how they understand it. You are a part of the universe. You are also a son of God. You are the Son of God. When somebody asks you, who are you? What is your name? I am J.Marie. I am. You are also. Now, let's not get confused, right? Because confusion is what leads us astray. Okay? Language is where the confusion is happening. In the language and in our lack of understanding. Okay? Because if God exists within you, in your heart, right? And then Jesus says he's part of God, right? He's the Son of God. I am God incarnate, right? He says, I'm God incarnate. And then he says, be careful, like anyone you see, treat them as you would treat me, because I may be that person. I may be that stranger, the least of them. I'm in them, right? So the Christ says, treat everybody as, like if I'm in them. Why would he say that? Right? Because if we are all, if Brahma exists within all of us, God exists within all of us, we are all the sons of God. We are all part of the universe. We are made of the universe. Brahma exists around us. Now let's go look at the Tao, right? Like the Tao Te Ching. The Tao is translated to the way. The way. What is the way? The way things are, right? The cycles of nature, the cycles of life, the cycles of the ocean, the cycles of the planets, whatever. The way things are. So Lao Tzu was he's one of the main teachers of the Tao Te Ching, but the way So philosophically, right? So Socrates, he the reason why I didn't like him in Athens was because he didn't accept the idea of the many gods. He understood that there was this one. He knew that there had to be like this one force, this one thing that encompasses all, even the minor gods, even the sons of gods or whatever. He says, no, there's got to be this one all powerful, all knowing, or something like that, right? So they they took him in trial, found him guilty, and made him drink poison. Because how dare you? There's only one God. How dare you think? I mean, I'm sorry, because in Athens they had the other gods, and Athena was the main goddess, so you had to worship and pray to her. That's why. So, but now when we look at in modern Christianity terms, right? How dare you, right? You're a regular sinful person. How dare you even consider or even think that you are the son of God or a son of God or anything even close to God? You are separated from God because you are fallen, because mankind fell away from God a long time ago and we separated from God, and now we're trying to find our way back to him. But we never will make it. But then the Christ comes in and his blood, and that's how we, never mind all that, right? But the Western way of thinking isn't that you are God or that you are like God or a God. That's not the Western way of thinking. Is you submit yourself to Christ. You submit yourself to a church. You submit yourself to this higher power, And in many ways, it's because, see, yes, there is a submission to the way, right? Christ says, I am the way, right? So he basically said, I am the Tao. I am the way. I am the truth. Truth exists in the ether. Outside of any of our understanding, truth, existence, the way. I am the way. I am the Tao, he says. I am the truth. I am life. I am existence. I am being. You are being. You are alive right now. You may be dead inside because of some pain or something, but you are here. Right? So in the West, in the church, it teaches us that, the church, right? We are the body. I brought that up before. We are the body, right? We are the body, it says in the church. Now things seem a little clearer to me, because if we are all part of the universe, then each one of us is the body of the universe. Through us, the universe will do works. Through us, because we have hands and feet. We can think, we can speak, we can create. Through us, the universe will do its works. You are the body. You are the hands and feet of Brahma, of the universe, of God, of the Tao. You are. You are. Just like I am. Existence. Being. So in the West, we don't think that way. And I think there's a modern movement, not even a movement. It seems like a natural thing happening, to where people are starting to awaken to some of these other concepts like this. Like, man, I'm blown away by it, because I don't see any conflict in what Jesus tries to teach us. What I see conflict is in the way that the modern church has twisted the language to try to teach what supposedly Jesus was teaching. Right? Because if Jesus, a regular man, says, I am God, I am the Son of God, and then again, mind you, our Western conceptualization of God, right? It's like That's why, how dare you, that they were going to stone him and stuff because he was saying he was God. And see, that even falls short. Our understanding of God even falls short, even still. Because even in the scripture, it tells us, rely not on your own comprehension. Rely not on that because, right? Because God is greater and bigger and more complicated than anything you will ever even begin to imagine, right? We have these telescopes that can look deep into space and we can see these beautiful, amazing creations of the universe, constantly growing, constantly creating. The universe is alive. The universe is alive and we can see it. In turn, it's like by building telescopes, by looking into the sky, it's like the universe inspecting itself, inspecting its work. So, wow, right? When I see these galaxies flying through space, my mind just says, wow. Like, I can't even, like, how would it even look if I was there? But you can't see it. You can't comprehend it. You can't even begin to conceptualize. We can see it on the screen. Oh, look, the telescope shows us, yes. But you can't, you're this big. You're like a dot, nigga. You ain't even a dot. You're non existent in that picture of them galaxies. You ain't even a dust. Yet you are. It's for a long time, as far as written record, modern man or recent modern man, or as far as we can tell, has always looked up towards the sky, looking to find this concept that we call God, this power, this being, this source, heaven, all these things, right? Constantly looking upward. You know, in the West, we say heaven is up there. And when we look up there, what do we see? We see space. We see the eternal ocean of space, you know? It's amazing. It's amazing. Even Earth, everything you see here, our size, our um, space that we take up in this universe is insignificant, man. Yet we are here. You are here. The universe lives within you. Imagine if the universe could speak. What would it tell us? What would it tell us? Would it tell us to get our act together? Would it tell us to love each other? How would it speak to us and reveal itself to us? It's hard to believe. It's hard to so right. So in the West, since we're so separated from God in the West, there's no way we can even conceive that regular people um, failed people. I mean, because look, the Bible is filled with stories of failed men who still did something good for mankind or for their tribe or whatever, right? A great king, David, right? He he slept with the wife of the other guy and had him killed. That's bad, you know. But he repented, and then he in the story he ended up still doing decent things, right? Moses was a drunkard, like Noah was a drunkard, like all these things, right? All these stories of failed men who still did great things. Moses was one of the greatest leaders in world history that we still talk about. He led however many, some people say 200,000, maybe 2 million people out of Egypt. That takes leadership. That takes something in here. You, you. What would the universe tell you? Would he tell you to stop drinking? Or would the universe say, man, you take it easy? And and if the universe wanted to speak to us, would we even hear? Would you even hear? If the universe spoke to you, would you even hear? What's on your mind right now, right? What are you constantly thinking of? What are you constantly doing? What are you constantly viewing? What's on your mind constantly? Would you even hear what the universe has to say? Sometimes, so there's this we talk about revelation, and in the West, it seems like something, only prophets, only, you got to be some sort of spiritual guru person, whatever, to have some revelation, right? Revelation happens all the time. It's like how the universe speaks to us, through us, inside of us. It tells us in our mind, hey, here's the answer, bing. But remember, right? So when the Christ says, you have to knock and I will open the door, right? So we have to do some action, right? You have to search and dig, right? There has to be some action on our part. We have to do. We have to do. So then we look at, so in Hinduism, it's that healing, that's nothing new to them. Miracles is nothing new to them. It happens. Why? Because we're part of the universe. And when you connect, when you reconnect, when you remove all of these things, right? Like in the Buddhism, that snag our body, those things, that anger and bitterness and jealousy, all these things, right, that we hold inside of ourselves, those things take us away from that balance of Brahma, you know? So when we remove all those things, that's when we can find that balance, and we can kind of find that balance again with the universe, right? So it's like when God or Jesus says, "Hey, come back to me. Forgive, you're forgiven. Forgive those who hurt you. Come back. Get back in order. Get your life back in order," right? Sin means we mess up. Any mess up. It doesn't mean some specific mess up. When we do something bad, when we hurt somebody, that's a sin. Why? Because we failed. Sin is a failure, a different, of all kinds of what? I acted wrong with my neighbor, or I cursed at my family member, or whatever. I did something wrong. It's you misfired. You didn't hit the target. You did something wrong. So he says, so the Christ says, stop messing up and just don't mess up anymore. Make right choices. Sin no more means make good choices. Go live your life and make good choices. You, the regular man, the regular folk. And I promise you, right? Not only he says this, but the philosophers in Athens and the psychologists and many different religions says, if you behave in a proper manner, I promise you, life will go a little bit smoother. That's what the Buddhists say. That's what the Hindus say. Balance with nature, with the universe, with God. It's the language. It's the language that that is affecting our understanding, because we have a Western understanding of things. And we have to be able to break beyond that wall that's holding us in, because there's this Western way of thinking that the rest of the world doesn't quite, you know, we're boxed in. We're boxed in a little bit. But imagine how much more. Imagine how much more good we can do once we unbox ourselves in those ways of thinking. When we can start seeing each other as, for the lack of a better term, as a God or part of God, or one with God, because you are part of the universe. We are all parts of the universe, of God. You are the hands and feet of God. Language, whatever language, call it Brahma, call it God, whatever, Tao, whatever. You are part of it. Even in the West, the church tries to tell us, God is inside of you, right? In here is where He lives, in your heart. What comes out of your mouth? All these things, right? Keep reminding us, God is in here. Treat people good. Why? Because I may be that person, right? Jesus said, I may be in there. I might be him. I may be them. Treat them good, right? It's the golden rule, right? We reciprocate. It's like it's all saying the same thing in different manners, in different ways. Because that trust in the way, right? Overall, right, in the West, in Christianity, in Judaism, overall it says, trust in this way, right? These rules, right? Like the Ten Commandments, just trust in them. People may be like, oh, well, what about that first one about God? Okay, fine. Leave that one out. Trust in these other ones. Don't sleep with your neighbor's wife. Don't want other people's stuff. Don't murder, right? Trust in this way, and things will be just that much better for you. You may never understand it, right? Religion says, the scripture says, God says, whatever. The philosophers, the prophets, whatever they say. You will never understand it, but please just trust in what I tell you, right? Trust in this way, right? So the Christ comes and says, look, forgive each other, love each other. You might not understand it. Trust me. I know, right? He says, I know what I'm talking about. Trust me. Forgive each other. Trust me. Love each other. Trust me. You can heal as I can. And he says, you will do greater works than even me. How's that? He's talking, right? We're talking, Christ is talking to us, to you, to the people out there. He says, you will do greater things than I even still. He's telling you, you have the power within you, not only to heal, but to bring life, to create. You have the power to create, to bring something into existence. Not only here on earth, like creating a life. You could bring things to life, ideas. You lay between heaven and earth. The universe will reveal ideas to you, and with your hands you can create something, a tool, a machine, ideas that come from the ether, like a revelation, right? It just popped in your mind. Dang, this design of whatever. It came from somewhere. It's like the universe says, this, and it shows you an image, a picture. It guides you. It reveals itself to you, through you, right? But there has to be, a process that happens in us, and it's not a specific process. It's like a formula that you have to follow. And once you follow this formula, you will get to this place, a balance, to nirvana. It's like, for thousands of years, people have tried to figure out the way, right? To try to explain it in words on how to get there. Forgiveness, meditation, right? Release yourself, forgive, don't be snagged, right? Sacrifice, all these things. They're trying to explain to us a way to get back to that place, right? That connection with God, that connection with the Brahman, that cycle, right? With the Tao, back in balance with the universe. Many, many men and, throughout the ages have tried to explain in words, and through translations it gets a little confusing, but it says, over and over, it says release, it says come back, it says order, the universe, all these things. It keeps coming back to these ideas of something greater that you are a part of. God exists within you. The Brahma is everywhere. You are part of it. You are made out of atoms. You are made out of molecules. You are made out of the elements that the universe is made out of. The universe is alive in you. When you let the atom structures, there's space between. There is space between these molecules. What holds these molecules together if there's space in between them? Gravity. In the tiniest specks of molecule is like if we are looking into space. We are the universe. You are the universe. You are the universe, and the universe will speak to you through you, and it's going to tell you. It's going to tell you, get your life in order. It's going to tell you, forgive your father. It's going to tell you, stop doing drugs. It's going to tell you, stop doing those things that you are hurting others. Stop doing those things that are hurting you. It's going to tell you, awaken your spirit. It's going to tell you, alive you are. Create life, it's going to tell you. It's going to tell you, stand up. It's going to tell you, I exist within you. It's going to tell you, you can heal. You can live a life that's worthy. You can live. You can be something. You can create. We destroy all the time, but instead of destroying, why not create? The universe creates. The galaxy is constantly creating. That's what we should do. Create something good, right? You can be something more than what you think you are. You are more than what you think you are. You're not just a person that has to go to work or whatever. You're more than that. You are the universe. You are being. You are God incarnate. God lives within you. The universe lives within you. You are part of the Brahman. You are part of the way. You hold a lot of power inside of you. But we throw it all away when we're full of resentment, when we're full of anger, when we have pride, when we have these idols in life, money, wealth, women, whatever. These things pull us down. They blind us. We will never be able to see that balance. They throw us all off balance. But when you get rid of those things, when you get rid of those things that hurt others, when you get rid of those things that are poison to ourselves, when you unsnag yourself from those things, from that hurt, from that pain, when you forgive people, you will find that balance. You will return to that place, that oneness with the universe. And the universe will speak to you. The universe will speak through you. The universe will do its works through you if you allow it to. Create. Do. Be. You are just like I am. You can heal people. You can also bring folks to life. You can do it also. You are no different than the Christ. The only difference is you are full of sin. You are full of deceit, self-deceit. You are full of anger. You are full of disgrace. You are full of resentment. You are full of jealousy. You are full of pride. You are full of all these things. But if you purify who you are, you will do greater works even still. than I. Find your balance with the universe. Call it what you want to call it. The way, the Tao, God, whatever. The Brahman. It's okay. It's just language, it's just words. We're all saying the same thing. The Western way of thinking is a little, we are boxed in a little bit. We're on top of the game in a lot of ways, but when it comes to politically, liberty, those type of things. But when it comes to spirituality, we're a little off. We're almost there. We're kind of there, but a little bit different because of the way Roman Empire set things up. But we won't go into that. But that's why the modern church is sort of the way it is. But luckily, glory to the universe, is that through my digging and through these revelations from the universe, these images and these pictures and these connections are shown to me so that I can bring them to you. Because these aren't my ideas. I did not come up with this stuff. This isn't something that no. I open myself up. I'm just a vessel. I've emptied that vessel out and I say, use me, reveal to me what you will, universe. And the universe says, okay. And it shows me things. It shows me little clips. But it makes me hunt. It makes me dig. It makes me look. Because I have to dig to find this stuff. It doesn't just pop. It doesn't just come to you, But you also can and may do great things also. You are capable of them. And you will do great things also. Purify yourself, your mind, your heart, your soul, and you will do great things. You can do. You are the universe. The universe lives within you. And it speaks through all of us. It speaks through everything. If we pay attention, and we do the work that we need to clear our eyes and our ears so we can hear it and see it. We'll see it. We'll get the message. All right. Well, let's stop there. All right, guys. Ooh, damn. Shoot. As you could tell, like I love this is my jam right here. Like I am sorry, I've been waiting to get on here. I've been struggling a little bit with not struggling. It's just trying to find that fire. But today was a good day because I started pumping and priming that fire since early. So that's good. I'm glad I did that, and I'm glad we got through this because it's been too long, and I miss you guys. So. All right. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked what you heard. And if you did, please tell your friends as that we don't put out content every day. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hit the subscribe button on Spotify or wherever you're listening to us. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button so you will know when our new video clips come out and everything like that. Or you can follow us on Facebook. Also, all the links are in the descriptions. So please do that because as you can see, I haven't been on here in a minute. So we have, I did a webisode for Oak Cliff Cultivators. It's on YouTube. It's not on the pod. So you want to go over there and subscribe there so you can see all of that other stuff because I will be putting out more content on there. And also we have shareable content on Facebook. So you're going to want to follow us there also. I want to thank you for sticking around with us today. I hope you enjoyed this conversation because these are the type of conversations that I like because I could just keep going. Like I'll keep going and digging, but we want to keep it short and succinct, and I think we've been able to find connections, in many of these different ideas. But it takes that conversation. It takes, that pointing out. It takes looking at what's in front of us to be able to see the difference and compare them, That's what it takes for us to do in order to understand these things a little bit better. So, you know. So that's what we're going to continue doing here at Thesis, and I hope you continue out on your journey of you're searching for answers or whatever it is that, because if you are here and you listen to our show, it's because you have, those ideas, and, you want to find answers. So bless you on your journey of enlightenment and wisdom. So, in the meantime, I hope and I ask that you take care of yourself. Please be safe out there. Continue on your journey. We keep working towards something better. You are the universe. Don't forget, man, you are the universe. You are the hands and feet of the universe. And through you, the universe will do great things. Okay? All right, guys. So, take care of yourself. I love you. Stay safe. I promise I won't take too long to see you again. So, check back soon. Please hit the subscribe button so you will see when I see you again. And also, please follow us on Facebook, YouTube, so you can have everything that we have to offer here, guys. All right? I love you. Stay safe. Thank you again. And I will see you guys soon.
This is Thesis.